My dog just came in here eating something that like sounded like he had like maybe a piece of plastic in his mouth, but I think it was just a treat that he had or something. But then he turned around when I called him and he bonked his head like really hard on the shelf when he looked at me. And I was like, oh.
The first casualty of the soft reboot of the Not So Common podcast.
Oh, look at that.
Welcome,
nice,
everyone.
That
Welcome.
Nice chill entry. That energy coming in was hot. I like that.
Welcome to the Not So Common podcast. I'm Pat Contry alongside probationary co-host Alex Faciane.
I'm like, what's his name? Hey now, Hank, from the Gary Shandling show or whatever that show was called. Hey now, I'm like the color man. What do they call it? The color man,
color commentator. We're talking sports. All right,
we're talking life, man. You know what I mean? Some people are by the books. Some people aren't by the books. Some people are by the comic books.
So the Not So Common podcast, if people aren't aware, you should be. I've been doing it on and off now for several years. I used to do it every other week with the CU podcast until the CU podcast went every week, and this sort of went to the back burner. But we're gonna bring it. We're gonna bring it back. Why not? It's gonna be your not anti-gaming podcast. I shouldn't say that. The diversionary gaming podcast. Other topics that we want to get to that we have on our heads that you might want to listen to.
Yeah. Yeah,
and Alex, you've been on like 3-4 times on the Not So Common podcast, and you actually co-host. You're the only stand-in co-host for the CU podcast back in December.
Which was, I didn't know that when I was going in, so I just came in and was like, "Hi," and then left, and then I realized that I was the only person who ever did it, and I was like,
I didn't want to pressure you, right? I didn't want to do that. So do you want to like give a quick primer to my audience? We have a mix of your audience and my audience. That there's some overlap, but not a huge amount, probably. Like, who is Alex?
Oh, who is Alex? Let's see. Like, so I'm a gamer. First of all,
okay.
Just wanted to get that out of the way.
Aren't we all?
No. You'd be surprised to find that we're not all gamers, but it feels like they are because similar to Pat. Though I am much, much younger than him.
What?
So though I am much younger than him, we have very, very similar jobs, and we've been in the same circles for a long time. Like a large part of the time that we've had the same job, we've known each other.
Yes, we know. We dine together at certain conventions. That's how friendly we are.
Like kings, we dine. We go out on the town and we throw the dice, and we spend thousands of bucks. We make the big bucks on YouTube together. We're just both millionaires, and we're doing great.
Okay.
And, yeah, I don't know. I was on a show for years, and I still am, called Super Beard Brothers. Another show you might know me on is Scary Game Squad over on Jesse Cox's channel. And speaking of Jesse Cox, I'm on the Chilluminati podcast, and I'm on the Star Wars Old Canon Book Club. I'm all over the place, everywhere that you've ever heard me before. I used to do a show called The Decks for many years. That was like the Magic School Bus, Bill Nye the Science Guy Pokemon show.
Which I pride myself on never having listened to, since I don't know nothing about the Pocket Monster world.
You would be charmed by our vulnerability and educational nature. You'd be charmed by how committed we were to teaching kids science and culture.
Okay, so that's a pretty good intro. That gets most of the TLD Alex down right there.
I'm also pretty good at pushing Pat's buttons, and because we go way back, it's just.
Do we go way back? When did we really start talking? Like 2015?
Yeah, so about 10 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
That's a long time.
That's like a decent friend, right?
That's a pretty long time. That's a pretty long time.
And you're a Southern California native. We should probably add
born
that,
and
right?
raised. Born and raised, which is funny because Pat's from like a 45-degree angle, not 45 degrees, but like if you drew a line across the United States from where I was born and lived for a long time to where Pat was born and lived for a long time, it's like a straight up like cutting your grilled cheese in half in America.
I don't think it's I think going from Southern California 45 degrees would get you up into Maine probably. Yeah. But all right.
Yes.
So who am I to Alex's audience? Well, I guess I'm I'm regarded as like one of the OG YouTubers, which is kind of weird. That's how people refer to me, like especially the younger YouTubers when they see me. They're like, oh, like I'm talking about YouTubers that have like millions of subscribers. I won't say who that are like, hey, I used to watch you when I was a kid, and I'm like, great. I guess that's something now because your audience is 50 times the size of mine. Not that I'm jealous or anything, but
I can think of 2 or 3 channels that were going longer in the like, especially in the like video game
retro gaming space.
Yeah, those videos. We talked about it one time. Like there's like a crew of people whose videos like somehow kind of look like they were made in the 80s. And those
Wait,
that
what? What?
like
Hold on a second. So you've insulted my age, and now you're saying my videos look like they were made in the 80s? Is that what
no,
you're saying?
they just have this tone. There was like this one class of videos, these like original class of people, and they all kind of had this like first gen tone. It's very like I don't know. It feels very
DIY. It's very like no lighting and bad audio. Is that what you mean? Because none of
no,
us had equipment.
no. Like it's really just the sensibility of the show is very like it feels like a television show that would be on in like the 80s on TV in the morning, more so than the type of stuff that comes out now. And I think
Okay.
I'm somewhere on that sliding scale. You know, probably by my age, it's probably more of a 90s vibe if you go back to the decks. You know,
This is a way long introduction to me. So he's referring to the Pat the NES Punk series that started in 2008, 16 years ago. And I've done Flea Market Madness.
that's a long time.
The video game years. I was a producer director of that series. I've done a few video game books. I have an N64 book coming out. Thank God in September. And yeah, I've been around the block, which not a euphemism for anything dirty or illegal, but I've been on the YouTube space a long time. And the Completely Unnecessary podcast is one of the original gaming podcasts. It was really one of the first independent gaming podcasts going back to 2013, because back then, when you look at the top gaming podcasts, it was like, here's the IGN podcast, here's GameSpot, and what other defunct video game websites back then had a podcast. And then you'd have like Retronauts and the CU podcast. Like that was pretty much how it was back then. And then so that's my life. And I'm from New Jersey. So and I moved out to San Diego in
So he has a lot to
2000.
say about pizza from my hometown. I have nothing. I have not a bad word to say about New Jersey or anywhere on the East Coast.
I don't have a bad word to say about Southern California right now. I don't know why you're suggesting to your audience tuning in that I would be anti Southern California.
We've been going back. We've been going back and forth about pizza for the past like 3 times that we've talked. So I know what's going on. You know what I mean? I know where this. I can see the future of the podcast. I know what kind of conversations we're gonna have. So I'm just setting everybody up.
I think you are priming your audience for me to be a pizza antagonist, and I don't appreciate that. At this point,
I think a pizza like philosopher is what I'm looking for. I'm looking for
you rather me be a philosopher of pizza than an antagonist.
Yeah, a poet of pizza. You know what I'm saying?
An
artisan.
So I had the plumber over yesterday. Nice segue. To unclog my shower drain.
I'm thinking about Super Mario now because of where we're at in the mindset now.
It's a warp zone.
Yeah.
So he last did it a few years ago. I'm awful. I know just enough about like household items and tools to be dangerous. Like I could probably put up shelves. Like that's about it. I could like drill holes and have them line up like in some form of a line, and and screw things like that. So this is how you know you're like a homeowner and you're done with it. I went out and bought the shower shroom, which is a as seen on TV shower drain that has a built-in.
I have one of these motherfuckers.
Okay, then that's how you know the marketing works.
Yeah.
And it has a built-in, so I don't have to pitch it to you. It has a cylinder in the middle that captures all the hairs, so to save me on another $150 plumbing bill in a few years. So this is brilliant. I never knew about this.
I'm going to tell you something though. Like,
hey, shower shroom, Super Mario Brothers. There you go. It works. It got us.
Yeah. Here's what's up. Listen, and this is like maybe TMI, but like I feel like that's in the spirit of the show, which we'll get to in a minute. The spirit of the show. But when I was a kid, I used to like get out of going to class sometimes by going to the bathroom and finding like a clump of like dirty hair on the ground and like kind of just like grossing myself out with it until I'd get gross and like barf in the toilet.
Wait, hold on a second. Well, hold on a second. You were a Munchausen's child?
Not exactly.
No, that's exactly what you were. You were making yourself sick to get. You weren't faking it, but you kind of were. You were
like I was just.
You would fake yourself getting sick.
Maybe for 10 minutes to get to the nurse, but it's just more to create a physical evidence than it is to.
Wait. So what would you do? Wait, hold on.
What, I'm being sick.
What would you do with that? You would just stare at the hair till you threw up?
I would maybe like pick it up and kind of like pick through it and kind of just be like, oh God. Oh, I just kind of grossed myself out.
Why was there hair clumps in your grammar school bathroom?
Because it's the Los Angeles Unified School District, one of the worst like my school books were like the same ones my parents used.
So there was no janitorial services.
Legit in the library, we found our parents' names in the books. That was like one of the games we played.
A legacy.
Legit. That's not even a joke.
There was it's like your books are like, well, the World War II is still going on. We'll see what happens, I guess.
Yeah. Wait, why the fuck was I talking about hair?
Because of the shower shroom.
Okay, so that's the thing that I was going to say is
you wish there was a shower shroom in your grammar school bathroom?
No. Oh. When you have to clean the shower shroom,
yeah,
prepare yourself.
It's gonna be gnarly.
It's gnarly.
You have long hair, and you live with someone that has long hair, and I have long hair. So,
yeah.
How often should I be prepared to? By the way, this is not sponsored by Shower Shroom, even though they should be after this. How often do you have to clean the shower shroom?
Well, I'm not the guy to ask. My standard of cleanliness, I don't understand. Like, I need Kelly to tell me what's clean and what's dirty, because I have like the mentality of a 21-year-old college student when it comes to what a mess is.
Okay.
Like, the closer that my in-laws are to my house, the more that sense opens up to me, and I can suddenly become anal about.
You get clean shame. You're like, oh, I really should clean, because to other people, I'm disgusting.
Yeah, but like in terms of like what legitimately bothers me in the comfort of my own home, very little.
I'm sure the same way. To me, it's like dirty plates is my number one thing. Like, I cannot not have dirty plates out. But yeah, maybe I'll go an extra 2 months without cleaning the guest bathroom. Maybe I should clean it more often.
I get on really well with dogs for this reason. Me and the dogs really are. We get it. We understand each other.
By the way, just so the audience knows, we did not plan it about talking about the shower shroom for now 8.5 minutes. But that's just the way this is gonna. This leads into, I guess, the mission statement of the Not So Common podcast.
Yeah,
if we have
Not So Common. Look, there was a man once upon a time, a visionary named Pat Contry, and
a visionary,
and he looked forward from whatever year this podcast started. I don't actually know.
I think it was 15 or 16. I started it.
Okay, so 45 years ago, a man with a dream looked forward into the future and decided that he was going to name this podcast Not So Common. And today, in like the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, we're going through a soft reboot, and I just want to know, like I want to make sure that you and I are on the same page, but also like, because this is like, it's like really like episode 400 or whatever it is, but it's actually also kind of like episode 1, right? So I just want to like check in with everybody and make sure we're all on the same page about what it means, like what's different about this podcast than, like, say, the other stuff that we both do. What is the Not So Common podcast?
I think you should have asked that before you're a probationary co-host, but you should know what you're getting into.
I want to tell you, full mask off. I've been dragging Pat completely out of his comfort zone, suggesting that we settle things about what this show is on the air for the whole time, as he's politely guided me away from it. So today we're here and we're going to do it. And,
so when I originally came up with the idea, because of Voltaire's quote, common sense is not so common.
Yeah.
And so I thought at the time, the podcast was a way for me to talk about things that I thought were common sense, but to most people are not. And that would include societal issues, political issues, and without like pounding people over the head. It's sort of an authoritative slant on some things that I saw to be sort of, I guess, to a lot of people either unknown or they're confused about. And I saw a responsibility, because people would ask me sometimes to comment on stuff that was not gaming related, and I was like, okay, why not? If you trust my gaming opinions and knowledge, maybe you trust my knowledge on things that are slightly more important in the world. And that's sort of the impetus of it. And you're going to probably
originally this was like you being like, sometimes I got to talk about the issues, like sometimes I need a place, like a place for me to go where I'm not just like tied to my games. Like today, like this is like my zone to like be serious, be real, be vulnerable.
Not that I wasn't serious on the CU podcast, but I also sometimes interviewed folks, in the YouTube space and otherwise, and got down to nitty gritty issues. I interviewed you a couple times.
Being on the show myself a couple times, and just like,
how do you describe what it is, being that you've been on it now more than anyone?
Well,
I think it's you and Norm. I think you and Norm are tied for 3 appearances each.
We're basically the same guy. Here's what I was going to say. I can't think of one difference between me and Norm. I'm just kidding. You got probably a lot better grades than I did in school. The thing about this show for me is that like I have now talked to you about what you think the show is, because we were talking about branding and stuff like over the last couple of weeks. But before that, like when I just was like gonna be a guest on it, and I was like, oh, the Not So Common podcast, I thought it was like a place for you to like go deep, just based on what it is. Because we just, each time that I came on the show, we didn't really talk about like necessarily like, oh my God, like the rise of fascism is like palpable, or like we didn't talk about like, you know, whatever, but we did go deep. Like we talked about Indiana Jones last time, and we got so deep into it that we ended up talking about like what art is and like what entertainment is. And so we got somewhere that most people don't get when they talk about, and you'd say perhaps, is it common or perhaps not so?
So you look at it more as an uncommon conversation or uncommon thought provocation versus, okay, well, I mean, all right.
Like I think common sense is not so common. I think like means, I think it's an anti-cliche quote. Does that make sense?
It's so okay. If it's a cliche, that means that it's overused, right? And
yeah,
it's sort of like lost meaning.
So common sense is, it requires you to be a free thinker. It requires you to think for yourself, because it's not so common to have common sense. So you can't.
Well, yeah, but the impetus of that phrase meant that most people don't have common sense, meaning that most people are not intelligent.
That's exactly what I'm saying. But I'm saying if you just read it a little deeper too, like I think aside from just the obvious, like, wow, everybody is pretty dumb, like reading that is obviously true, like, and definitely the main point of it. I think
except for all those listening, of course, we think you're the most intelligent people for giving us an opportunity to do this. No,
you guys are all so smart because you guys came and found us.
Because you chose us. Yeah,
we're called them. This. Did you ever name the fan base of the show before? Are they called because the Friends of Pat?
No, people tried for the CU podcast. People tried to give a name to it like several years ago. And I was just like, no. I was like, no. I'm not that.
Was it Cupheads?
It wasn't Cupheads. That would have been brilliant if it happened before. Cuphead became a game. But that's Cupheads. Jeez. That's so dumb. Anyway, so what were we saying? Okay, so Voltaire, a lot of people don't have common sense. So we're here to not let people know what they should be thinking about topics, but maybe steering people towards that the path of righteousness, if I can say.
It's a real conversation that's honest between two people who are willing to be wrong, but who think they aren't wrong usually, which is, I think, the thing that's, if we have a East Coast, West Coast Venn diagram, I think the thing that's in the middle is that we're both very confident in our own opinions.
We're confident in our pizza.
Yeah. We're both confident in our pizza and our opinions.
Yeah. I mean, we already, sussed out a promo image, or at least Alex came up with it at like 1 a.m. and sent it to me. At the time I was like, I don't know why you're doing this past your bedtime. And it was like, this is my vision of what the show is. And it had me sitting in the center of a Southern California city, like Godzilla. Yeah. With did you put wacky sunglasses on me, or I forget? And
it looks great. Yeah. I put the deal with it sunglasses on you because that's how I see you.
You see, I'm the deal with it guy. Is that what you're looking at when you see me?
It's just what I said. We're both very confident in our own opinion. We know what we think.
But I'm very open to other opinions.
Of course. But it's tongue in cheek. Okay. You're barfing in the middle. It was cool. It was cool.
I don't think you're going to have to reveal that on your socials.
Find me on Twitter. And if you ask me, I will show you at Faciane. Find me on Twitter. At Facianea. Find me on Twitter and ask me to see that my cool idea, and then you tell me what you think of it.
Yeah, the non-canonical promo image. I'll say that.
Yeah,
it's non-canonical.
It's from before the paperwork was signed.
That'll be like in the liner notes of our dual biography 30 years from now,
when we revolutionized entertainment for the masses.
We revolutionized podcasting. Not that there's like several million podcasts in the world.
So here's my pitch for the name of our fan base. Ready?
Oh God,
Megaminds.
No, that's too
big. People with big brains. No, what I'm saying?
That's
Megaminds.
No, that's
how about,
I get it.
How about the smart folk?
No, isn't that arrogant to assume that because you listen to us, you have a big brain?
Isn't it weird? Isn't it arrogant to call your podcast like, the, you know, the ones who are right, the rare correct folk?
That's not the connotation of not so common, by the
Common
way.
sense is not so common. But it's
Yeah, it means we had some common sense. It doesn't mean we're the most intelligent, but
yeah. All right. Well,
I'm sure I swung and missed on a couple of topics. So you've listened to some in the past of me solo. I did my whole Caitlin Clark thing last podcast. You listened to it. I'm sure you didn't agree with it 100%.
Yeah, but that's fine. Like I'm not here to like pick a fight. I'm just saying, like, in my mind, I think the show is about being vuln. Number one, being vuln and being honest.
Vul, is that like a Zoomer way of saying vulnerable?
Yeah, I don't know about Zoomers, but I say vuln because it makes me laugh.
Okay, you're like a younger millennial, but okay.
A younger millennial. I'm 36 years old.
You're a middle-aged millennial. I'm an older millennial or ex-lennial, which is a real thing.
Ex-lennial? Does that mean like you know who Hole is, but you don't really listen to them? They're like before your time.
No, it's actually on Wikipedia. It's anyone born between about 78 and 82. It's a cross-generational sort of person because you basically grew up with technology developed as your human being developed. So it was like analog childhood, digital adulthood. That's
a little young for Ghostbusters, but still around for it.
Yes, like I have no memory of the first Ghostbusters movie coming out, but obviously the cartoon a few years later and Ghostbusters 2, it's like, yes, that's a good way of describing it in a very Ghostbustian way.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, am I distracting you? Was that you checking your cell phone on our first podcast together?
I am taking notes, Pat. I want to remember the things that we talk about.
Okay. We have a document here. You can type on our Google Docs.
Some things are just for me because I'm an antagonist, Pat.
Okay, now I feel bad. You were actually taking notes and paying attention. Okay.
It's okay. What I was doing was I was making a plan to talk about Ghostbusters Ice movie. I don't know what the name of it is because people
Frozen Empire, the new one?
Yeah.
I haven't seen it.
So. People should not name movies like that. We should call this Not So Common Double Trouble.
I feel bad now. Speaking of nostalgia bait, which could be one of our recurring segment ideas I put down here. I tried to like gently nudge you to go watch like 3 Beverly Cops movies in 24 hours.
I'll watch them for next week if you want to talk about Axel F.
Oh, by the way, speaking of a timeline, we're not committed to every week. Every other week we committed to.
Yeah.
For the Not So Common podcast. So
that's not so bad.
It's not so common.
Not so often.
But yeah,
maybe that's what not so common means is that it's not every week.
There you go. Double meaning. There you go. That's why you're the branding marketing expert genius, as you claim, because of that.
Wait till they see my sick poster.
By the way, to the new listeners out there, if you are out there, this is like the 3rd different podcast I pitched to Alex the past 2 months. It's like, well, I had 2 brilliant ideas for other podcasts, but let's go back to the one that will require the least amount of work and that we'll be the most comfortable with doing on a regular basis.
We're both getting on in the years and we got a lot on our plates. The other day, Pat was like literally about to die because of a book. And now he's done. He's done.
I was literally about to die. I mean, no, the past 4 years I was, but it's being printed right now somewhere in Asia.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like now it's in the rear view, and he feels so much lighter that he doesn't remember how packed his schedule was before.
No, well now I got to redo the first book. To your audience.
Let me handle that bit. I'll take care of that.
No, I'm not going to let you handle my empire. My frozen empire. My unfrozen empire.
Your frozen empire. I don't know. I hope that the movie is about I hope the Ghostbuster movie is about nostalgia and that it's like an allegory for freezing stuff in time. I hope it is.
No, it's going to be we're going to put 70-year-olds back in jumpsuits and brown jumpsuits to fight ghosts again. That's what that movie is. That's all.
That still seems thematically on theme with what I'm talking about.
I mean, yes, that's why I have zero interest. I saw
it's like the Winter Soldier, but it's like the Ghostbusters cast was defrosted to come do one last mission.
But they're not defrosted; they're old men. That's except for Ernie Hudson, who's like ripped at 70 years old.
He looks so good. Hey, I was so surprised.
Hey, you can stay in shape when you get older. It's just tougher. You can do it, and then when you get older, you just take more HGH and steroids because who cares? You're not going to live forever. That's the way I look at it.
I saw Jerry Lewis on Comedians in Cars. No, on Comedians in Cars getting coffee. Like it was like his dedication was in the episode because he was dead by the time it came out. He was old as fuck, right? My man ordered like 36 strips of bacon at the diner.
Yeah, my grandfather lived to be 94, and near the end, like they didn't want him to drink a lot of wine because of the sugar level. And I was
Yeah.
like, come on, he's 94. He can have a glass of wine.
Yeah.
If it hasn't killed him so far, it probably won't.
Yeah.
So
If anything, we don't know shit about fuck, you know?
okay, well, you still want to trust your medical experts. You don't want to still do your own research all the time. We don't know shit about fuck. We personally don't. The people that study medicine do.
That's what Norm Macdonald said though too. Is he was like, when I was young, I used to say to myself, because he was like pretty straight edge for the most part. He said when he was young, he like used to imagine that he'd like wait till he was like 85 to like do all the hard drugs, right? And then he's like, now I'm like 60 years old and already I'm like, fuck off. I'm not gonna do meth right now. I'll fucking die tomorrow if I do meth.
Well, I think there's a bit of a gap between a glass of red wine after dinner and methamphetamine. I think there's a little bit. It's a little bit.
I wouldn't know.
Difference.
I've
never done hard drugs, and I've only smoked marijuana because I was led to believe it would sex would come from it with another individual that I wanted to have sex with. That's happened a couple times. So I'll just say this: I never saw like the appeal of, okay, we're going to do this drug that historically has no good ending to doing this drug, like heroin, or basically anything that Frank, my buddy here, Frank, who's an older hippie, even stuff he never did. So not everyone got to get into heroin or meth because he like.
I don't mess with any of that stuff. Though I will tell you this: if for episode 3 you want to do a podcast where we're just both on shrooms the whole time, that would be great.
Frank recommends I do shrooms, but he recommends I do it like around him the first time so I don't freak out. But no, I'm not there yet with we have to grow into that relationship, Alex. We're doing
this whole podcast is just a long con for me to convince you to do psychedelics.
It might be.
Yeah,
that's absolutely might be. Like,
you know how we got into talking about this originally, and like probably what led us to being on this podcast together is through the brain of whoever ran the Steakums brand account on Twitter.
That communist,
yeah, that communist hero,
anarcho-communist,
that revolutionary hero. Yeah, exactly.
I think the impetus is that you want me to sell my stuff because you shamed me years back when you said you are what you like own, and that like shamed me into having this gigantic game collection. This was like 3 years ago. You said that, and I was like, you are absolutely correct. While I do love video games and retro games, I don't need 12,000 of them. I can be good with maybe 2,000 or 3,000 of them. That's what I decided.
But then again, I just like, so you don't like, just so we understand that the pod is absolutely calling the kettle black. Do you see what I'm pointing the webcam at right now?
Okay, but we're doing an audio podcast, so I know you've podcasted before. You should probably explain to the audience what I'm saying.
I know, but it's just for you. It's my comic book collection, which is vinyl? Enough.
Is that vinyl?
No, vinyl. My vinyl is in another room because there's too much of it.
Okay, so you do have a collecting problem like me. Okay.
Well, I mean, look, I'm not going for a complete anything, right? That's just shit that I've read. Do you know what I mean? So it's a little different, but do I have a problem? I don't know. I definitely buy the stuff to read it. You know what I mean? Like, I doubt that we're playing, like, I doubt that any collector who's going for complete collections has also just beaten every single game in the NES library. That seems insane to me.
Almost no one has done that. There's a Twitch streamer called the Mexican Runner who did that live. He beat every single game.
I remember that.
The amount of time you need to do that is insane for someone.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's just a different, like, it's totally like, the reason I have so many is because they take very little time to read.
Sure.
Yeah. But my vinyl collection is like one, you know, those like things in a store that have like maybe like 2 rows. And then like below, there's like another 2 rows of like maybe backstock or something like that.
Sure.
That you can like go like this with or you like thumb through it with your fingers.
Sure.
Like forward. I have one of those in my house. That's my vinyl collection.
That's not horrible. That's not like me buying specialized shelves to house collections of games.
I mean, you've seen me. I sell off stuff from my collection all the time just to make it smaller.
All the time? What do you mean? I've seen you do it once. I've seen you sell records one day on a Sunday.
Well, it's usually I don't have like a bunch of gamer related ones that I can sell at a gaming convention.
Do you think we hang out more often than we do? I'm trying to get at where that statement came from. I've seen you sell off lots of things. No, I haven't. I've seen you sell 10 LPs.
I don't know. A couple of the times that I've been at conventions with you, I've been selling different things of my own. Yeah.
All right. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for snapping at you.
I don't feel like you're snapping at me. I feel like you know, like maybe we don't see each other that much. But like, I feel like we both are like people who like don't really see that many people that much. Like I
What you have a lot more local friends than me, I guarantee.
a few, I have a few, but like real talk, like when I get to go to a convention, like for years when I, in the summer when we'd be on those circuits and just going to like Retropalooza and all those
Going
things.
to, I used to do like 6 and 10 weeks.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous.
I was there too, like I
Yeah.
used to love doing those and it was so fun because it was like, it felt like carnies. Like we are just all on the road. Like I'd run into like, it'd be like, there's Pat, there's Norm, there's Jay and Billy, there's John Blue Riggs, there's all the people, like everybody who I always see. There's Metal Jesus, like, oh, like there's
And
Wood. He came over from fucking wherever, whatever. Like it's all cool.
and does it make you feel weird that now a lot of us are either aging out of it or not doing the convention circuit as hard anymore?
No, because I'm tired too, and it's too much to ask of me even to go do it all that often. But like I'm lucky because I live in Los Angeles. There's always like a reason to come here. So like I still kind of get to do it from time to time. We do live shows and stuff.
I brought this up. No, this isn't an interview question, but I always refer to like the first run of YouTubers, which you kind of still are. I mean, for 50 years from now, you're going to be regarded as like the first generation.
I
of
go
YouTuber
way
guys.
back. Like other than the Game Grumps, I think we're older than the Game Grumps.
I absolutely am in terms of my the YouTube career and age. Yeah,
I think my channel, my Let's Play channel, is older than the Game Grumps. I think.
I always wonder if we're going to be looked at as like the vaudevillians of like the 1910s before like before TV shows and even like radio shows really hit big. Like we might have established something that other people sort of then built upon.
If you've ever spoken to the camera in a character, you're probably a first wave gaming YouTuber.
Yeah, I still do character driven pieces.
That's what I'm saying. But you are like that's what I'm saying. You're grandfathered in. Yeah, like same thing with us. Like how many Let's Play channels are there at all anymore?
Is that not a thing anymore?
There's us and the Game Grumps. There's a couple other ones that
it's all Twitch. It's all live based now.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Good. I always hated Let's Play channels. I mean, besides yours. I mean,
well, I'm on Patreon now, so people literally pay me to make it, so it feels good. It's an honest, good thing that gets exactly as much attention.
Man, I should have chased that algorithm dragon. I should have just said, "Fuck it." I have no integrity about my own qualms or what I want to produce going forward, or look at myself in the mirror 20 years from now. I'll just do whatever's hot.
I would say there's a skill and talent to Let's Playing like anything else.
I'm not saying I never wanted to do it. Like it's like I want to do it.
It's pretty good. Like I never watch it. I don't ever watch it at all. I don't watch anyone's Let's Plays, but it's pretty do
you watch your own work?
It's fun. Just for quality.
Quality control?
I watch like one video a week just to make sure it's not like slipping. But other than that,
your Let's Play skills are slipping.
It's just hard. It's just hard, man. Like in No Man's Sky dev process, when they were making that like procedurally generated universe to make sure that there was no glitches, they would shoot a probe out into their fake universe to take low res pictures of it.
Oh wow.
Right?
Okay.
Because it was so big that they just couldn't comprehend it all at once. And so my channel has so many videos on it. Like there's so many videos on there, man. It's so hard to like keep track of like what's happening. And there's a video that literally comes out like almost every day of the week, right? Mm-hmm. So like it's just a lot. Like I can't watch every minute of every video every week and feel like I'm not doing a job. So like, you just gotta have to kind of like do what you can. Make sure take a sample, take a core sample every once in a while.
Okay. Make sure you're still witty while playing the 75th hour of an
Elden Ring.
I was gonna say some sort of RPG where you can have sex with a bear. Whatever one that was, I forget.
Baldur's Gate.
Yeah, the fact that I know that's
I like the details that stick in your mind. Yeah,
that's how you know it succeeded. I'm like, oh,
it doesn't matter that it's like the most award-winning, like best reviewed game.
Apparently not, because that's all I know about it. Is like that's how it got big. You can have sex with a bear. So.
Have you ever been a Dungeons and Dragons guy? Could you ever?
I thought you were gonna say, have you ever fucked a bear?
Have you ever been like into bestiality? No. Like, have you ever been a tabletop guy? Did you ever do that?
No, I never got into it. And it doesn't mean that I wouldn't like to do it, but you can't do everything. That's what I decided.
I would watch you Let's Play Baldur's Gate 3 tomorrow. Yesterday, I would watch it.
Why? Why? My character creation skills or
It's
Why?
just a lot of like
You're
a
curious
lot
what
of like
animal I'd want to fuck? What?
no, because it's like a team, right? So it's like you have your whole group and they all have to do things. And I'm just interested because it's a lot of decision making, like based on like morals and values. And like
Oh,
I think it would be interesting to just see how you play a game like that. That's so like it's been so embraced by like Gen Z, like gay ass, like fucking free open gamers, horny millennial gamers, like people who want to just go deep on their own RP and just be a character straight edged and like live in that world. The
okay.
game's
So you're
so
curious if I would like adhere to like my own
yeah, it's so open.
character, or if I would just say, you know what, I'm gonna be Mr. Deer Screwer, and I'm gonna
Yeah, it's you
um.
know it's you are
It's
how
like,
you play Baldur's Gate 3.
no, you aren't though, because you can be because you can just again, it's role playing. You can take on another character though, right?
I think that if I watched you play it for 30 hours, it would be a fantastic
I
peek
would
into your psyche, regardless.
I would drive you to the asylum myself. You said I want to see Pat play this game for 30 hours because you're curious what decisions I would make along the way. There's some random passerby who asks for a change. It's like, well, do you give him change or do you knife him in the throat? Like that's not
Yeah.
that's
I
I
might
don't think
watch I might watch the supercut. I
I was
might
gonna say I don't think you want to. I mean, they're gonna get me to stream it. I guess Baldur's Gate. Uh,
I want to see the progression. Didn't you ever play the old Baldur's Gates?
No.
What the hell?
The earliest things I played that required a lot of decision making like that would be God. Dark Forces 2 Jedi Knight. You can decide what sort of Jedi you want to be. You can be good
That's
or
true.
bad. You made decisions.
That's true. That
You
game's
did.
good, but it's
You
not nearly.
no,
It's
that
not.
was
Yeah,
that was like binary decision making.
yeah.
It was
Not
like,
even
well, you can
Mysteries
shoot
of the
random
Sith.
people during missions, and the more you did that, the more you went to the dark side, and
Yeah,
you can get the force choke instead of
yeah,
like the life regeneration power. Like that's
yeah.
basically there. I just told you a 30-year-old game that was one of the best games ever at the time.
That game bops, and we're gonna play it on our podcast eventually, which is one of the things that I'm
Dark Forces 2.
specifically the Mysteries of the Sith expansion. I'm so excited to play because I haven't played it since I was like a different shaped human being. You know what I mean? Like a tiny little asshole.
I'm not to be speaking of asshole, not to be a dick. Is this podcast just a way for you to promote your other projects? Because it's like the fourth different project you've promoted
Do you
during
know that?
conversation.
Do you know that there is not other things that I do? Do you know that all my free time is just various jobs that I have? Do you know
No,
that I'm a millennial, and so all the things that I
hold on.
just care about already are my job?
Because there's no way we can ever afford housing in the
I
modern. You
don't
get to work to death.
have yeah, I just have to make my job to love stuff that I love real hard for money.
Well, it's still better than working in a cubicle, I guess.
Somehow I parlayed my way into this. I think it was the chops, to be honest, because I have comedy chops. I feel like I skipped the line on some stuff back in the day, and I've just been coasting on that ever since.
Welcome back to the Not So Humble podcast. I'm your host, Pat, and
It's like
with the
the
brilliant
imposter.
Alex.
Welcome back to
What?
the imposter. It's called Not So Common Imposter Syndrome. That's the Frozen Empire.
That's a well, it's refreshing because I think there's a lot of we're gonna get into an actual topic conversation. I at some point I probably, but
You mean another YouTuber or streamer?
but no, one of the reasons I like you is because you will unabashedly say, "Hey, I think I'm brilliant when it comes to this," and there's so much fake people out there in our realm as content creators where they go out of their way to bend over to present themselves as humble when they really are not behind the scenes. And I didn't expect to talk about this, but like, so, I just went to a convention, Too Many Games, what was that, a week and a half ago. And there's so many people that you walk by that you mentioned one by name earlier that I won't get into, that part of the circuit where it's like, oh, they present themselves as the nicest people in the world, but in reality, they are douchebags. Like when you actually know them personally. And so, yeah, I'm actually feel safer with someone that goes out and says, you know what, I'm fucking brilliant when it comes to this, or I'm talented, because it's like, well, then what are you trying to hide? You're not really trying to hide anything. You're probably just like maybe at least maybe a little overcompensating because maybe you really want to build yourself up. So maybe your ego, is probably not as elevated as your words portend to be. So that makes me feel better in a way. So that means I actually like the fact that you're arrogant.
Yeah. Well, I'm not arrogant unless I should be. Right, like I'm not a liar, right? Like I believe that I'm good at certain things.
You can back it up.
Yeah, and like
it's not arrogant if you can back it up, right?
I feel like the amount of time that I've spent doing a few specific things, I can speak with some expertise on, and I try not to do any other expertise speaking, especially because I have these other shows where I like, read facts and do like real history or research, and I want to just make sure that I'm not talking out of my ass, you
Sure.
know? So
You're well learned and well read, right?
yeah, and I think that when you have that, I think that it's perfectly fine. Or if you know, I think for me, for example, I'm confident now at this point in my career saying, you know what, I think I'm probably a pretty funny guy.
You're
For
not bad.
example, yeah,
You
I'm pretty funny. I think I could say it.
you make me giggle a little bit
Yeah,
every now and then.
I don't think it's a stretch to say that I'm pretty funny compared to most people.
You think you're turning off some of the audience discovering you, the fact that you're speaking this openly about your confidence, or no? Because
If
some people don't
you
like that. Some people would do attack videos on me just because they didn't like the way I came across on the podcast. That I was so sure of things I said, they would do like, they get red in the face. These people, I used to watch them and laugh at attack videos on me because they would be like you're telling on yourself when you get so upset by someone else being so sure of the points they're making. Like the worst case scenario is that, well, maybe I'm just wrong in this opinion. And so I think a lot of people are uncomfortable maybe being presented with that in such an open way because they haven't yet got to that point where they can act upon that sort of I don't want to say semi-aggressiveness, but being able to think and say things carefree because
well,
because a lot of times they have to be so guarded with their own thoughts and words. Does that make sense?
yeah, but I do feel like somehow like I'm like the most vetted person possible that you could think of in this respect.
In the world, perhaps.
like I'm probably up there. I'm probably up there. Like in terms of like hours of me that there's probably some radio hosts, but even then, most people that talk on the radio that as much as I am on the internet, like aren't talking frankly. They're like hosting a radio show. So they're not like speaking
they're just a talking head. They're not showing their personality.
Yeah, but on Super Beard Bros and on all the other shows that I'm on, there's so much like tuning out of the game. Like you're right. Like one of the series that we're on right now is like a game that's like 100. We're like 150 episodes in or something like that, and we're not even a fourth of the way through the game. Right? It's Elden Ring, but it's a huge game.
150 episodes.
Yeah, and we're not even like a fourth of the way through the game or a third of the way through the game or whatever, right? And so what is that show, right? Like, is it entertaining? Like, I think so. I think somebody finds it entertaining, right? Just based on what's happening. But
or they feel bad for you, one or the other.
Right. But what the show actually is us talking like completely off the cuff. It's like you can get there quickly by making somebody eat hot wings, right? And like lower their guard in that way. Or you can sit them down in a chair for fucking 6 straight hours and let their brains just go.
They're just
and
mush.
So because I've done that so much and I've spoken so freely and I'm so very serious about being the same person on the microphone that like you encounter in real life, I feel like anybody who's got a problem with me, like I've probably heard it before at this point, and I'm not really bothered by somebody who doesn't like the cut of my jib. Like that's just bullshit. That's lazy and that comes from a brain that's stupid, that can't come up with a real reason to express themselves and just can't really express themselves.
So maybe not so common also refers to the type of people you might be, or maybe you and I.
Maybe we're just that good. Maybe we're just that good.
Maybe you're just the West Coast Pat. You didn't realize it.
That's how I want to think about myself from now on.
The West Coast Pat. Oh, that's dangerous.
Oh, yeah.
That is dangerous.
Yeah. You're like Larry David, though. You have a very strong essence.
What do you mean?
You have a very strong, like I could like I don't, like you said, we don't hang out that often, but I know you pretty well. I could pretty much imagine what you would think of a lot of things because you're very clear on how you think about things.
like a 6.5 out of 10 burger joint you're going to take me to again?
No, listen, I'm not going to name a burger joint on here just to razz them. But I'm
but what do you mean, like so if you took me to let's just say non-food, you took me to a mini golf place, you would know exactly how I think about the mini golf place. You would know you would know my sensibility based upon what you think my past putt abilities were and what my experiences were.
I can probably guess how you would react,
positive or negatively. You'd be like, oh, I like this, or oh, this is, you call this a mini golf place? Where's the loop? What the hell is this?
I could probably guess like some of your complaints.
Okay.
Like about something before you got there.
Is that good or bad? Able to sort of synthesize someone's reactions
I think it's
to
good.
a point. You think
I
that's
think it's
good?
good. I
Because
think
that
it
means
means that you have
predictability is good.
yeah, because I think it means you have a point of view. And I think it's the same thing for me. Like, I think like, going back to the question you asked me about, like, am I worried about people just because I'm being confident? Like, am I worried that I'm gonna upset people? I was on a podcast just the other day. Like, somebody asked me to be on, and they were interviewing me, and they were asking me about this, and I was saying, like, if you don't go out and be like a take, if you do anything besides like try and say the thing that you're thinking, uh, you're just kind of like you're just making a non-choice. You're like choosing to become a cog in the machine. You're like just a circuit in the algorithm robot. If you do that, it's just dumb. It's actually like
very anti-Steakums. You don't want to do that.
it's just actually weak. It's just actually weak. And it's somebody who would make a hate video doesn't really like make a lot of hate videos about me, because I just don't react to it, because it's like if an ant said fuck you to me. You know what I mean? It's just like what does it mean? It's nothing.
What
It's
is that?
just
What is that phrase? A lion doesn't concern himself with flies or something. What is that? What is that?
I'm not trying to lionize myself. I'm just trying to say, like, it's just inaudible. Like, it's like if a plant was offended by me, I just don't care about what some fucking asshole online thinks about me. It doesn't matter if they're famous.
A lion does not concern herself with the opinion of sheep. That's not the expression I was going for. I just Googled that. That's not what I. A lion doesn't turn when a dog barks. That's an expression. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That one, that makes more sense.
Yeah, you know what? Fuck that. Yeah, I am the lion. A lion doesn't turn when the dog barks.
You are the
walrus. I'm just saying, like, unless they attack my life and start ruining my life, and I have to like fucking deal with it.
Well, some people, that's a goal of theirs in a way. When putting yourself on as an online content creator, they try to do that though.
Of course.
They've tried with me several years ago. I was me and Ian were like the center of all online hate for about a 2-week period, where like PewDiePie discussed our situation. Like it was that big. And then I was asked about it on a podcast years later by 2 people. And one was like, just like, well, how did you get around that? Or how did you deal with that? And I was like, it didn't really affect me. It was all like, it was online stuff. And those people aren't real anyway. Like you don't encounter people in real life that will complain about the same things they'll complain about online. By and large, it doesn't happen.
It's just all in how you react to it. It's really it.
Yeah, but the point is that person couldn't wrap their mind around it, about the fact that it didn't affect me like they thought it might. They were like, it was a Diablo Immortal thing where we're basically saying it's a stupid fucking mobile game. Who cares?
Yeah, it hurts. It hurts to be targeted by someone, for sure. Yeah.
But the point is, it's like, well, I don't think, going back to the point, I don't think people like having opinionated people tell them things they don't want to hear, like that. Even when, long term, we were absolutely correct about that situation as well, because they did do a new Diablo game eventually, and they did put out a Diablo Immortal fucking game that I guess some people enjoyed. So it is what it is. It's like, who cares? There's just video game stuff. It's like, it's not your whole fucking life. And some people don't like you even saying it like that, or even in that way, or the combination. And so I guess what I'm trying to say is that people like you and I think some people, we rub the wrong way because of that, because we were unabashedly, we're going to say, you know what? We don't fucking care.
Just go somewhere else. Just go do something else. Like, I don't have time for drama. I think it's silly. If you actually,
I have sometimes.
If I like, well, I mean, I don't know. You just asked me the question, like, do I care about this? I just, no, I really don't. And I don't have time for drama. And anytime that I've ever reacted, like anytime I've ever had like somebody come after me online, like, you just stick to your guns. You be honest, be earnest. And if you feel like you need to do something to take care of it, you can do it. But I've even messed up. You know what I mean? I've even messed up and done things that where I felt in hindsight were insensitive, and apologized for them. That's fine. There's nothing. It's not a loss. If I'm made aware of something, it's not about, like, I think for some people it's about taking an L in general, and I think it's all just imaginary that it would be bad. Like, if it's bad, it's bad. The reason you react badly to something bad is because it's bad.
Sure.
Look at Dr. Disrespect.
I was just going to go there. We were thinking about this.
Yeah.
Are you aware of this Dr. Disrespect stuff going on in this drama the past couple weeks?
I know lightly a little bit about it. I browsed the timeline that you supplied me. I didn't want to get too deep into it just so that you could still tell me funny things about it.
You wanted me to be the presenter of this. This I guess is our first topic. 50 minutes into this,
It's fine.
that's the way we're gonna
We don't have to
roll,
talk
I
about it
guess.
too much. We don't talk about it too much. Like it's all just gonna get. It's all just kind of tying into what we're saying anyway.
I guess
Yeah.
we sort of got there without realizing we're getting there. This is an article from complex.com by Kevin Wong, who did a great job summarizing this timeline. Otherwise, I would be still researching it now instead of recording this podcast. It has to do with Guy Beams or Herschel Beam the Fourth. I thought it was Guy Beams. I don't know. Mr. Beam, we'll call him.
Mr. Bean. Let's call him Mr. Bean.
Mr. Beam the Fourth. Better known by he has a streamer persona called Dr. Disrespect, who's like the 2-time video game champion. I don't know what that even goes back to. I think it's the Blockbuster thing. Like you could used to they did a couple of Blockbuster competitions like 93, 94, and you could win your local store. And maybe he did that and called himself world champion. I don't think he won the huge event twice. I don't know. If there's any Dr. Disrespect stands that are going to correct me on YouTube, I'm sure they're going to comment, "Oh, he won."
Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. This guy just dresses like an asshole.
He plays like an over the top like 80s douchebag. I think the mustache is real, but he has like a mullet. He wears a red vest and like a muscle shirt and like sunglasses, and that's his shtick. He does it on Twitch, and he's one of the big excuse me, doesn't do it on Twitch anymore. We'll get into that, but he's a big online streamer, one of the biggest online personalities. So what happened was he signed a deal, a multi-year, multi-million-dollar deal with Twitch back in March 2020. And then he was banned from Twitch less than a year later. And people at the time are like, what's going on? He had a very cryptic last stream, so he knew what was going to happen. And we didn't know what was happening at the time. But then he got banned, and all Twitch said was like, oh, he violated the terms of service. At the time, people were like, what the hell is happening? We have no clue. Was it DMCA? Like, it was a mystery that you would sign someone for, whatever, $8 million deal and then ban the person months later. And
what do you think the reason was
at the time?
Like, why do you think it was like not public?
Well, I'll get to that. We'll get to that. Well, I mean, that's part of the conversation, Alex. I guess you haven't been following why they didn't publicize it at the time, because we know why he got banned at the time. So then later in the year, he said, I don't know why I was banned, blah, 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 blah. So like there was a settlement a couple years later. There was a case because I guess he wanted to get part of his payout, and Amazon/Twitch didn't want to pay him. He said, I resolved my legal dispute with Twitch. No party admits to any wrongdoing. So that's important why that happened in March 2022. So now we're on 4 years now, a couple of years ago, 4 years of us not knowing why one of the biggest streamers on the planet signed a multi-million-dollar deal with Twitch and then months later was banned from the platform, and it was never revealed why. Never. And so this is what happened. In June, which we're still only a couple weeks out from, Cody Connors, who worked for Twitch as an account director, I am just plagiarizing from the complex.com article, worked for Twitch as an account director, just tweeted randomly and didn't even name Mr. Beams or Dr. Disrespect. He said he got banned because got caught sexting a minor in the then existing Twitch Whispers product, which is like DMs. He was trying to meet up with her at TwitchCon. The powers that be could read in plain text. Case closed, gang. This random tweet set off a firestorm of, obviously we know who he's talking about. What the hell is going on? Why is this guy randomly saying this after 4 years when no one has revealed anything about this potentially bombshell story? And then a game journalist, Jake Lucky, commented on it, and then Mr. Beams responded. He said, Jake, seriously, I get it. It's a hot topic, but this has been settled. No wrongdoing was acknowledged, and they paid out the whole contract. So when you see, Alex, someone say, no wrongdoing was acknowledged, would that set off any alarm bells to you?
That's what I'm saying. Like, okay, like I'm walking through this from the point of view of Amazon, right? Who just shits on Dr. Disrespect, like in terms of power, right? Like Amazon has every card, every lawyer. This guy's chump change to him, to them. And they're like, hey, we know we just signed you for this millions of dollars contract, but we just found out that you were sexting a minor in our Whispers app, and you were going to terminate our contract with you, right?
Mhm.
And then whatever happens, happens, and
Allegedly.
they walk out of the room going, neither of us will ever speak of this. And it just doesn't make sense, because the next thing that happened after that is that he's like talking shit on them. And I
Sure.
just don't understand why he would ever do that. And what could have possibly given him the confidence to,
Well, we'll get to that. So this was Mr. Beam's statement the next day or so,
because he
because
said he was going to sue them, right?
no, he didn't say that. He didn't say he was going to sue him.
Yeah,
Because
he did, dude. Like August 5th, 25th, 2021, while on stream,
oh,
Beam
way
responded
back,
to a
you
viewer.
mean? Okay.
He said he would be suing the fuck out of Twitch.
Well, he probably because he felt it was lost opportunities and things like that, or I've lost potential. But this guy started his own gaming company for some weird shooter that was based on NFTs or some bullshit and other things. So here's his statement he put on X. This is what he said, and I quote from Mr. Beam. I didn't do anything wrong. All this has been probed and settled, nothing illegal. No wrongdoing was found, and I was paid. And that wasn't enough for people, because it got worse. His gaming company he helped founded booted him after they said they looked into it. So that means they talked to people that used to work at Twitch and said, okay, what the fuck is going on now with this guy that's helping run our company, Midnight Society? And so that's when it got really weird, because then Turtle Beach also dropped them, and they were a sponsor, I guess, for headsets or whatever, or microphone headset combos. So it's like, okay, well, there's smoke, there might be fire here. So then he was forced to put out his own statement that blew. This is where this turned weird, because you have a major gaming celebrity admitting to one of the worst things that you could probably think of to get in trouble. And this is what he said. So Mr. Beam on June 25th said, were there Twitch whisper messages with an individual minor back in 2017? The answer is yes. Were there real intentions behind these messages? The answer is absolutely not. These were casual, mutual conversations that sometimes leaned too much in the direction of being inappropriate, but nothing more. Now, from a moral standpoint, I'll absolutely take responsibility. I should have never entertained these conversations to begin with. That's on me. That's on me as an adult, a husband, and a father. It should have never happened. I get it. I'm not perfect, and I'll fucking own my shit. This was stupid. Then he ended with this statement. They want me to disappear. Yeah, fucking right. So that's
Didn't he
short.
also separately cheat on his wife?
Oh yeah, yeah. So this goes back
So
to
he
the
does.
timeline.
So he does intend to act on the things that he says.
Well, here's the thing. When you say, well, why would Amazon even kowtow to a settlement? Because this happened in 2017. They signed him in 2020, which means that someone had to have dug up the old DMs and say, what the fuck was this guy into? So they either were tipped off or had a reason to look into private DMs to say, oh, this guy was allegedly setting up a rendezvous with a minor. And that's why maybe Amazon didn't want to get into it, because maybe they'd have to admit culpability to like privacy issues or some bullshit, even though they were saving and helping a minor out and helping to out a fucking scumbag and get him off their platform. So that's
Twitch
probably what
also
happened.
Twitch has also got their hands in the ugly sauce.
Yes, because Twitch, if I was Jeff Bezos, who probably had no idea this is going on because he's running the empire, I've been like, okay, what did this piece of shit do? And now he wants a part of the contract. I call his bluff. Have us drag us into court. We'll do discovery and we'll say, hey, here's all the texts of you texting the minor and trying to set up a meet with her or him or whatever. Like I'd say I call his bluff. But I don't think Twitch wanted to admit they never did their due diligence into hiring a fucking scumbag that they had suspended from their platform a year before giving a multi-million-dollar deal. In 2019, we talked about it on the CU podcast. We were enraged that he went to TwitchCon.
This was when he went in the bathroom?
He live streamed people in the bathroom, including children. If you see that live stream, there's children in the bathroom, and Twitch banned him for like a month or two, whatever it was. Then Twitch then says, well, business is business a year later, and signs this piece of shit to an 8-figure deal. They probably didn't want to have egg on their face and realize that, oh, we should have looked into him way before we gave him all this money.
So they paid him $8 million to walk away because people at the company were starting to make noise.
We didn't know why they paid him, but we just know that like they signed a deal and they didn't do their due diligence of signing this piece of garbage that they had suspended off their own platform. That's what's so mind-boggling to me. It's like, why would you give someone, I don't care. At some point, I don't understand. I understand business is business, but you have to be like, okay, like we have, some form of morality on our platform, and we don't want to be associated with this at all. But they didn't care. They just wanted the business. That's what happened. That's why I think that's why they kept it a secret. That's why they NDA'd everyone at Twitch. And that's why no one had the courage in the past 4 years to do it. And the only reason that Mr. Bean put out that statement that it was going to be a major story, I think released on, I believe Forbes was running a major piece corroborating all this with multiple ex-Twitch employees. So he felt the need to get out in front of it. But
Jesus
why would
Christ.
Twitch, like if I was running Twitch, I'd be like, we fucked up. We should never have given this guy money, and then be like, and keep it like that. And then if he sues you, great, we're going to reveal everything that happened on our.
That's what I would have done too. It just doesn't make sense. Like,
because they wanted it to go away, Alex. They wanted it to go away.
They like, what's going to happen? Twitch is going to get shut down? No.
They didn't want to look irresponsible, but now they look worse 4 years later by letting this guy have a massive career. This guy fucking announced someone for the NFL draft. Like this guy was mainstream. Yeah. You know, like this guy has like skins in games, like Fortnite, whatever else, and they had the chance to show the truth about this character 4 years ago, and they chose the easy way out.
This is just the face of the algorithm, is what this is. This is Dr. Disrespect is exactly what the system creates. It is exactly the person that should be the most famous YouTuber and streamer, because that is exactly what trying to please everyone creates, is just a sociopathic monster that thinks they can do anything. And the fact that his name was Dr. Disrespect is like fucking hilarious, because it speaks to some sort of like dorm room alpha mindset journal, like affirmation.
And yes, and yes, you're playing a character, but I don't know if you follow pro wrestling, but there's always the danger of wrestlers becoming what's called marks for themselves. They believe they are their character. They encompass their character, and I think this is a classic case of that happening.
Yeah, hilarious.
Like this guy would always be in public dressed in his fucking uniform and things like that. Like he embodied, I believe, his personality became the character in some respects, including the fact that he can get away. He thought he can get away with allegedly, sexting a minor and trying to set up a meet with them.
It's like putting on a costume of a Godzilla when you're like 10 years old, and then like going feral because you're in the Godzilla outfit
and just stomping around the living room, throwing
just
over,
feeling yourself,
shit.
because you're Godzilla,
So a little cleanup. It was actually Rolling Stone that was publishing an investigative article, and then you had the Version Bloomberg were talking to people to corroborate the account, and you had his fans that were like, "Oh, what is when the Midnight Society, his gaming company, got rid of him, and he was getting dropped by Turtle Beach. You're like, well, we need to see the evidence of this. And then it's like, well, then he admits it. They're like, well, now we need to see the DMs. Like the amount of like copium, because like the people. This goes to the face. I was always danger of the direct interaction of a big star with you, and obviously like the parasocial nature of that gets amplified by 1,000. And you have people that probably followed this guy for years, were in his champions club, gifted this guy hundreds of dollars over the years for entertainment, that now couldn't accept the fact that this guy's a piece of shit. And that maybe they were misguided, because this is the person they watch entertain them for hours a day, 5 or 6 days a week. And we saw this all unveil on social media, where people now are even like, well, I don't want to say the guy did anything wrong. I got to see the DMs for me to judge. And it's like, at some point, it's like, okay, you're always going to find a way out for this guy. If that's the way you're going, it's like, well, he admits that he did something bad. And when you admit it yourself, you usually don't state it as badly as what it was, so it's like, what do you think is going to happen if the DMs release? You think it's going to be innocent, that the guy, you're like, what do you think is going to happen? There was a misunderstanding.
The truth is none of them actually care.
You don't think so?
And they're being performative to save their own face. Their own. It has nothing to do with him or defending him or anything. It's so tied to their identity as a person.
It's cultish.
There's nobody who isn't like, I've never met somebody who's like a well-rounded person who has other interests, who's like, I was hanging out and I was chilling at my house watching some Dr. Disrespect the other day. Like I've never seen it.
You're gonna piss off the 15 people that are Dr. Disrespect fans that are listening to us,
I do
Alex.
not care about those people.
Okay.
I don't care about them at all.
There is the overlap there. There might be. I'm just
I don't care. I don't care. I'm sorry that anytime I ever make anyone mad, every time I speak, it's gonna happen. I'm from California. Already they're gonna hate me.
Oh,
already they're gonna hate me.
Well, you know what they say about the left coast. I mean, come on.
Yeah, left coast, best pizza. That's what they say.
Right? I had an awkward conversation, not to get off Mr. Beam. God. The fourth, by the way, he's the fourth of that line. Mr. Beam the fourth.
Mr. Beam.
Herschel. Well, I think his name was Guy.
Beam.
Glad it's Herschel because
because it's another dorky name.
Because Guy's my favorite Final Fight character. I didn't want him to besmirch my favorite Final Fight
Herschel
character.
Beam the fourth is the guy from across the lake who is at the other camp who needs to get his pants pulled down in front of everybody at the co-ed dance.
Is he the son of the guy trying to buy the lake and turn it into condos?
Yeah,
is that what
yeah, they're buying the lesser camp and turning it into a boat storage shed for our camp.
Is that Meatballs 2 or 3? That plot?
Camp
I forget.
Disrespect.
So he got dropped by YouTube. Also demonetized him for violating our creator responsibility policy following serious allegations. But he's still on I guess, what is it, Kick? I don't know. What's the one? There's always the platform that you can go to that you get kicked off of. I guess that's why they call it Kick. So here's the thing.
The Suicide Squad.
so he'll take a little, he said, I'm gonna take a vacation with my wife and kid and get away from things. He'll come back and he'll still have a career and people won't care. He won't have a mainstream career anymore. He won't get any more sponsorships, big time sponsorships, or be like invited to TwitchCon anytime soon.
Yeah, I'm sure his wife's ready to just go on that long trip with just him. I think that's exactly what she wants to do right now.
Yeah. So that happened back in around the same time, 2017. I think we also commented on that in the podcast, where like I was critical because like he presented this big badass gamer guy and he went on stream and was crying as himself, saying, "Oh, my wife, I cheated on her." I was like, dude, like own the character. Like now you're like insulting.
There's also like a streamer, like a sex worker streamer that says that, and she has receipts that he she gave him free shows in exchange for a partnership.
Oh,
allegedly.
Okay. And
then he blocked her allegedly,
and she has
the
as well.
She has the receipts, and then she's a trans sex worker, and he's texting a minor, and he's cheating with another woman, according to her.
Is this like a bingo card thing where it's like, well, how many more things I have to like knock off on here?
I just don't understand how he gets off saying that he doesn't have intention to do this. When every single piece of evidence that has ever shown up is just him actually cheating on his wife with someone or trying to allegedly have sex with a minor.
I didn't even tell you some of the best parts of his message. That was the TLDR from the complex.com article, because he gets all vehement when he says, what did you say? He says, "I'm no fucking predator or pedophile." Well, you were leaning that way allegedly based upon what you just said. He says,
like, he sent the messages. Like, what are you talking about? He admitted
to it. He also tried to edit out the word minor, but people saw, like, you can see the edit versions on Twitter.
That's even worse. You do.
He said, "Get the fuck out of here with that shit." It's like, well, I don't understand. That's what you presented. He says, "If any of this has made you uncomfortable, I get it. You don't have to support me anymore, but just know you have always been greatly appreciated." He says, "To all my haters that live and breathe social media with zero real life experience, I don't give a fuck about you." Okay. He says, "I'm not fucking going anywhere. I'm not the same guy that made this mistake all those years ago. I'm taking an extended vacation with my family, as mentioned on the stream, and I'm coming back with a heavy weight off my shoulders. They want me to disappear. Yeah, fucking right." Well, I mean, that's why I was trying to say, like, he is going to try to come back and he'll probably be okay to make a living. He already has millions of dollars in the bank. So like, he'll be fine. Like, life will go on and like, there'll be no repercussions long term.
I'm not worried about this guy at all. And I think that everybody should be horrified by these stories and not think it's hilarious. And
I don't think it's hilarious at all. I think it's sad that, people like this aren't vetted, and then they get these big deals, and no one for 4 years could have spoke up about this. People should have spoke up about this in 2020, and they didn't. They were just like, let this guy be what it, like, I don't understand. I guess were they afraid of NDAs? Like, you could have leaked this to a reporter in 2020 and you would have been legally fine to do that. Like, the reporter wouldn't have outed you as a source.
Yeah. It's like so sensitive. It's like so protected, I don't know. Like, nobody would ever leak like something like this. I don't know. It just sucks. It just sucks. And it's lame, and you're lame if you like this guy, and you're dumb if you like this guy. You should and I don't care about you. And yeah, I don't care. I don't care what he was there for you for. This guy sucks. He's a piece of shit, and you shouldn't trust him. How
Oh,
about
one of the
that?
first things he said is that I've always been upfront and real with you guys on anything that I can be upfront
Yeah,
about.
exactly.
Like, okay, well, yeah,
Yeah,
why you're wearing a costume and a mullet wig? I just think that's funny because
yeah.
you're not presenting who you really are to your audience, but you probably morphed into that character at some point.
The only
That's the
thing we
weird
know
thing.
about him that's unsavory is that he like routinely steps out on his wife, which is just not keeping it 100. That's just not what it is.
I was gonna say you're not upfront real with her
Like
probably, but allegedly, yeah,
allegedly. None of this
yeah.
is for sure
I
because
don't know.
you know why it sucks that we have to say allegedly too is because it's like genuine fear that he's going to sue us for saying this.
Sure, it's been
Genuine,
alleged. Well, it's
yeah.
not alleged that he said he had inappropriate conversation with a minor because he
No, he
admitted
did.
that. He
Yeah.
admitted that. So anyway, yeah, I don't want to get into a salacious topic for drama. I just think that we find out more and more about. It's almost like every year now we find, or more than that, that like a big time streamer or content creator, something really bad is revealed about them, and it's like I'm not. You're never shocked anymore. You're sort of like just waiting for the other shoe to drop constantly. That's just the way it is at this
Yeah,
point.
I think like people like I think it's hard to describe what is valuable about Dr. Disrespect and people of his ilk. I think it's hard to it's like the best that I think people can come up with when we talk about like and he's a particularly toxic one, right? But
Sure.
there's other just like non-serious, no diehard fans, like mile wide and inch deep demographic guys. Like Mr. Beast is a great example of one who's just doing whatever he needs to get in front of the most eyes possible. There's no creative spirit or interesting context.
Oh wow! All right, you're gonna have his fans come out that he's like the biggest.
Yeah, but he says it. He's like, I try not to enjoy myself too much, or whatever the quote was. He was like, I try to not look like I'm having fun because that doesn't test well with the audiences. He is unabashedly all about the numbers. It's not like I'm misrepresenting him. I'm just saying what he's saying.
So,
right?
But you're saying that's as bad as Dr. Disrespect, or you're saying it's just another pitfall of being a big content creator?
I'm trying to say I can't think of like good reasons to watch this that people have given me other than that they say, oh, it's just kind of like it makes me feel good because it's really not challenging and it's easy and my life is very stressful. Right.
Isn't popcorn entertainment? That's like a lot of like music and
that's the barrier. That's like saying that food is there just so you don't die. That's like relegating the entire world of food and flavor and art that's into it to just being like nutrients that you eat just to die.
But are you saying Mr. Beast? Are you saying Mr. Beast is junk food and that's why it's so popular? It's McDonald's.
I'm saying I'm saying there's no substance to it, and the thing that he provides is not really entertainment. And it's the same thing.
It's not entertainment to you, but there's a reason why like 80 million people will watch his. Hell, I watched the challenge. We have everyone age 1 to 100 in cubicles, and they have the last one out gets the money.
Why did you watch it?
It was presented to me by accident on good old X.
What did you think? Like, were you like, I was curious. Stimulate my mind.
Well, I was curious about the like what actually thought went into planning that and what the challenges were. And if it was like for real, if it was like, okay, we have a 1 or 2 year old and they're going to be out instantly. So you were out if you like walked out of the cubicle, right? Like these clear cubicles that you slept there. I guess like you had bathroom breaks. They had a portable bathroom. I guess they brought to you. I don't know. But like, I think people will stay there for like 2 months or
what
something.
What do you think about the fact that he constantly gets caught just like faking the premises of his videos?
Oh, I didn't know that. We just say alleged. That's Alex Faciane saying that. Mr. Beast, please don't sue me. I have no idea about those allegations. I haven't seen those articles.
It's like, well, we didn't actually do what we said. It's like just like we did like the TV version. It's not like
they simulated it.
Yeah, it's not
assisted reality.
Don't get me wrong. Like, yeah, it's not like I'm saying like, oh, he just did it in a studio. I'm just saying like it's a TV show that has the budget of a TV show. And if you think like the real world is like an unscripted, like unedited show, that's about as real as Mr. Beast is. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
Like, and I'm just saying like, I think it's the same thing. I think like at one point in time, and I'm not really trying to poo-poo this. I'm not really trying to poo-poo this type of entertainment because I think we need it. Like I watch Kitchen Nightmares all the time, right? I don't think there's value to that show, but I watch it because it makes me feel good. Or I watch meme compilations, which is worse.
But that's value though. I guess I would define what value means to you. Is value to you entertainment, or just like it has meaning outside of entertainment?
No. The point that I'm getting to is that there's not really a reason, there's not really a cause to champion here that requires anybody to like ride for Dr. Disrespect. I don't think anybody, there's nothing to stand up for here. There's no value that he
there's
provides.
There's no cultural value to his content. I agree with that.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I just think like we can be honest about what he is. And the fact that he just is like awful, I think absolutely does just preclude him from the privilege of being treated like a famous person with respect and dignity and all that stuff. I just think that like if this guy was like a NFT guy, you know, and he went down for something like this, everybody would just be clowning on him anyway, because we are all comfortable with hating on NFTs. But even though Dr. Disrespect, just look at him. He exists to piss me off, and people love it because he pisses me off. Do you know what I mean?
Sure, because you're more the Luddite, right?
Yeah. Well, I'm not a Luddite at all. He just exists to piss people like me off who are obnoxious to the. You get it. You get it. He's like the anti-intellectual. You know what I mean? It's like Trump. It's the same exact thing. It's just like, I don't want to think about this. Haha, this guy like also like causes problems for the people that annoy me. Like, it's just that.
It's just an arrogant persona that they can identify with. Like,
it's like
he's saying the thing that I want to say, or
it's comforting. It's comforting to watch somebody be the asshole that you can't be.
He's being the asshole that I want to be or wish I could be.
Yeah. And that's
but Mr. Beast is not that. Mr. Beast is just like,
he's like being the good guy that you want to be. He's being like like I'm a Teletubby, but I'm a human. Like,
oh, God. Right now I can't even see that. He's a Teletubby person.
He's just like, he's not really like saying a take. He's just like, what are we
He's a presenter.
today?
He's a persona that is a presenter of like these like hugely budgeted YouTube videos.
He's like a porn. Concepts. He's like a porn impresario who figured out how to do it without fucking.
Okay.
He's like Lloyd Kaufman, but just of like really boring bullshit. Like he just, hey, he comes out and everybody goes, aha, he's there. He's there.
So is it discouraging that he's like the biggest YouTuber though?
Because that's kind of what I'm saying is like the whole system is just kind of gross and not real, but it's like so big that it's like kind of just replacing all the real entertainment that's out there.
But it goes back to, is the system just a reflection of the world though? Like that's what people are drawn to. Like there's a reason why McDonald's has billions and billions served.
Yeah, yes, it is. But it's an interesting time because it's the first time that organizations have been big enough to actually just manipulate us as a whole and change our thought process. And
they've always done that though. That's what marketing is.
Not like, yeah, but marketing used to be a lot more like sort of like just straightforward and on its sleeve. And now like,
oh no. Really? You really think that? You really think like advertising campaigns, TV were straightforward?
I'm not gonna. Here's what I'm gonna say. Advertising has always been there's a darkness at the center of it, right? There's like a capitalist sort of scariness at the center of all advertising. That's just part of what it is,
yes.
Right? But what companies are capable of doing to manipulate us has changed drastically, to the point that now companies can take things away from us that we already had and charge us more for it, and we just pay it.
Sure, I wouldn't look at so much as manipulation. I look at it as just gaming a system that is
they're essential. They identified their brand with normal life.
Are you mad at Adobe? Like, what is this?
Yes, but not
just an Adobe rant in disguise.
Not just Adobe. Like look at Twitch and this story, Dr. Disrespect, right? Look at Twitch. They knowingly paid a guy who has admitted to inappropriately soliciting minors for sex acts, whether seriously or
it's alleged that he
whether seriously or unseriously, right? But that's what he did, right?
Allegedly,
he has admitted to doing this.
He admitted to
just not the intent.
A minor.
Yeah, just not the intent.
Inappropriately, yes.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what the intent was. The point is that Twitch did this, and no one gives a fuck about Twitch because we can't get rid of Twitch, because all those people who are like creators who have no money and are like trying to like be themselves and be bohemian and like make the little money that they have, and there's this whole ecosystem of like true, or at least
Okay.
it
So you're
feels like
saying
art.
the platform or product is so big it warps the morality of all of us around it. The same
Yes.
way we're always going to use Apple products, even though the horrific conditions of which a lot of them are created. We have to
Yeah.
accept that. We
Yeah.
we we bought into it implicitly.
But it's even more, it's even like the Apple one is like a horror that has been deep seated in capitalism forever, is like this sort of like near slave labor in other countries
Yeah,
type
but
stuff.
I understand, but it's the extreme of it. Like Apple could make their products anywhere else, still make a huge profit without the borderline, you want to call it slave labor, and they would still be a hugely profitable company.
Yeah.
Like they took it to the extreme. Like
Yeah.
it sounds like
Dr.
that's
Disrespect, yeah, is Dr. Disrespect is the same thing as like Netflix like putting a movie on the front page and being like, it's a hit. Right? Like it's just like they just can just say, "Oh, Dr. Disrespect is fine," because they just decide, "Oh, we just don't talk about that," and then people won't find out. And then
okay.
we didn't, and then
Uh,
we're not assholes.
so you're saying you are saying these corporations are these when it comes to entertainment, they're the unnatural tastemakers.
Yeah. There's
That
just not enough cynicism around it. There's like people
Oh, I
people are
understand that.
people are
Yeah.
tricked by the like scenarios that they present us in order to distract from the fact that it's really just the same bad guy every time, and it's these like horrible companies that just do these horrible things, and they're so powerful that we can't stop them.
Yeah, I think in
And they
this case,
just
though, it was Amazon being they were shamed, or Twitch was shamed. And if I was Jeff Bezos, if I found out, I would have said, "Fuck it, we're not paying this guy a penny." If he sues
that's
us,
what I would do. I
that's
would
what I
sue
would have
him
done.
right now. Yeah.
I tweeted that out. I was like, I don't know why Amazon decided to settle with him. They could have said, "Oh, great, we say we got your whispers, your GMs illegally. So fucking what?" That's what. And a civil jury would never have sided with Mr. Bean over us. That's what I would say if I was the lawyer.
That's
I present it all to that jury. I'd be like, okay, jury, do you think we should have paid out the contract? You think so?
that's a little it's a little Matlocky, but yeah.
That's what I would have done.
It's a little Perry Masony,
You
but
don't you don't
yeah.
want me as you don't want me as a lawyer. I almost went to law school. I thought about it after I graduated college. I thought about that first place. I was like, I would have been a good
You
lawyer.
might just
Uh,
lose a lot of cases though. Is what might happen. You might be like, "What do you say, general public?" And they're like,
well, here's the thing.
"Blood, kill, murder."
Big corporations have lawyers to stay out of court. That's why they have lawyers. They don't want to go to court. They don't want to
Right.
litigate.
That's
They
true.
want to stay out. And they didn't
That's
want to
true.
litigate.
Yeah. It's just absolutely disgusting. It's not like this situation is no more special or any less special than any other one. Amazon is doing stuff like this all the time. YouTube is doing stuff like this all the time. The amount of shit that's out there that comes out every day about all this shit, none of these companies care about any of this. They only care about it when you point fingers. It's horrible. It's a horrible system. You should all jump off and make your own stuff, and do it on your own platform and host it somewhere that's not Amazon, and just stop. But it doesn't matter what I say because you're never going to do it. You're just going to keep like this is going to be on Amazon. And this is going to be on
This is going to be on a
Apple.
Google
Yeah,
a
yeah.
Google
This is going to
owned
be on Google. There's no way around
YouTube.
it. There's no way around it. It's
We're
like
done.
Cyberpunk. It's like Cyberpunk 2077.
And
You know that-
Amazon, runs most of the internet with their AWS, cloud services, stuff like that. If
Yeah,
Amazon goes down, the internet basically goes down.
yeah,
Too big to fail, Alex.
yeah. So think about that. Think about that next time you log on. Okay.
Don't shame our shared audience now. Don't.
I'm mostly just trying to make you guys laugh, but really like I went hard just so you guys understand where I'm at. You know what I mean? Like I want you guys to understand where I'm at and where and how angry I am and why I'm angry. And I'm hoping that slowly I will convince everybody to be angry with me
I think
instead of
you're
angry at me.
I think you're an 8 on the Steakum scale right now. On the 1 to 10 on the Steakum scale, you're at an 8.
I'll take it,
The
dude.
Steakum
I'm
scale.
proud to be a Steakum. I'll be a number one. I'll be number one on the Steakum scale.
Is Steakum still posting their communist stuff?
I'm gonna read their
there?
last tweet. Hold on. Let's see.
Like we talk about that. The Steakums account, if people don't know, on Twitter, I'll never call it X. I'll never acknowledge an awful rebrand. Being that's I like to brand to do branding stuff, and so does Alex. They would be very, I would say, socially woke, and I mean that in the way you're supposed to say woke, and not in the it's woke. I don't know what that means. And they would a lot of times have like anti-capitalist stances on things, which is really funny for a frozen cheap meat company.
They should make competing brands debate each other on live television instead of running ads, was one of the things they tweeted on June 27th.
They should pay competing brands. Is that what you said?
They should make competing brands debate each other on live television instead of running ads.
So they would have to debate. Is there another frozen meat company that's like a Steak-umm out there?
Yeah. I don't know. I would never buy Steak-umms anyway, is the thing. But
I grew up with them. As a
kid, it's different because
that was a staple.
Yeah, like branded food is like getting to go to McDonald's, like on some scale. It says also, he tweeted one, when the discourse has respectful disagreement, and it's like a positive, like he likes that.
Like, do you think the people, the CEO of Steak-umms actually knows their Twitter account is tweeting that stuff out?
Oh, June 6th. Oh, they call you ranch because you be dressing? Well, they call me beef because I have issues with the institutions that profit from misinformation and sell our data to the highest bidder.
I highly doubt that the higher ups at Steak-umm actually know this is happening.
I had a friend who wrote tweets for a brand like this, a big brand like this, one of the original effervescent, sort of irreverent brand Twitters. And it was like, it started the revolution. Everybody loved it. Everybody copied it. And then the CEO found out and like immediately shut it down without any second thought.
Because
even though it like changed the world of advertising forever and like made like the biggest mark on like social media advertising maybe that anybody has made.
Like the witty corporate account.
They were like, that's not very Christian, and just like turned it off or something like that. Like I'm not gonna say it was because it was Christian for sure, but it was like that kind of vibe.
Wendy's was one of the first, and they put out their album, their diss album against McDonald's. And that was, it was like very like lame, not with it parent energy from the CEO of this company. Well, CEOs usually don't have this sort of, they don't know what's hip with the kids.
That's the other thing that people don't realize is that all these companies like YouTube and stuff, like there's still like somebody who's like 75 somewhere up there who's like making decisions in all aspects.
Well, that's what's happening. You don't want to talk politics a lot, I think, on our first episode, but that's why there's so many boomers still in power, and like they just won't die. They just won't die off.
Because they got like the super medicine from like the boom of like the greatest time in our nation's history because of the hard work of their parents.
They just synthesize all their dollars they have hoarded up and into a solution, and they drink it. I don't know. Like that's what basically is happening with that. So you're saying a lot of these companies still have 70 plus people in power, maybe that they don't know
why? Because they're not stressed, because they didn't have to worry.
Because they strip mine the earth and profited off it. They
just all have like houses. And they like are all sitting.
You said they all have houses. Like that's an abnormal a goal to aspire to.
I'm saying,
unfortunately now it is.
The boomers have it, and the millennials, it's a dream. Like,
well, a lot of boomers are going to start dying off, but then those houses got to go somewhere. And I guess they're going to go to multinational corporations. They're going to rent them out.
There won't be water anymore by the time the boomers are dead.
We're all
going to be in trouble by the time
there won't be water. You heard it here first, folks.
I'm going to be in jail for my beliefs, and there won't be any water. Just get ready.
I want to do my own research on that. There won't be water thing. I want to look that up.
This podcast that I just did with you is going to get me arrested in 2025.
Well, you're going to be civil suit by Mr. and maybe Mr. Beam. The Beast and the Beam might come after you.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
just saying. I try to distance myself from that litigation on my first podcast because I don't have insurance yet for you.
It's all alleged. It's all alleged.
These guys
they're probably great in real life. I bet you they're great.
Is there anything else you want to tackle? Has this been a fun probationary first episode?
I feel like we did good. I feel like there's other things that we can get into, but I like the stream of consciousness. We actually did closely follow our like boo-boo outline that we made. Like we did the things that we said we were going to do.
Kind of.
We got lots of other stuff. We didn't want to be too hokey with the segments, but I think probably what's going to happen is we're going to start doing segments eventually.
Here's the recurring segment ideas that we came up for the audience. Pat and Alex save your channel, which would be like maybe we find a dead YouTube channel randomly somehow. Alex
or just we're going to insult our friends and write them content for their YouTube channels.
That would be fun too. I don't give a shit anymore. I'm almost to the point where
I want to pitch you guys my Pat the NES Punk movie next time.
Two Pats and a lie. So that'll be where like I tell Alex two truths about my life and a lie, and then he has to suss out that, and that it'll be, and I'll probably be angry at him for guessing wrong. I'm like, what? You assume I can't do that, or what? What do you mean I didn't learn how to parachute?
I think I'm gonna get you. I think I'm gonna have a perfect record on Two Pats and a Lie.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Forever. Is that right? Okay. The big fail: stories of business/product failures. nostalgia bait or brilliance, franchise continuations or reboots. So, for example, Alex has
He
to
wants
watch.
me to watch Axel F, the Judge
You have to,
Reinhold character.
you have to watch Beverly Hills Cop 1 and 2 and Axel F. They're on Netflix.
Is Judge Reinhold in the movie?
Yes, Judge Reinhold is in all 4 of them.
Yeah,
actually.
I mean, I know he's in the other ones.
He's the only one in all 4 besides Eddie
Yeah.
Murphy.
Isn't he Axel?
Eddie Murphy is Axel. Are you being serious right now?
Yeah, no, Eddie Murphy's Axel, and then who's Judge Reinhold's character? His name is what?
He's God, Rosewood. He's one of the cops. He's one of the Beverly Hills cops.
Yeah, I've seen the movie once or twice.
Alex, Alex and Axel. Axel's not actually the Beverly Hills cop. He's actually a Detroit cop that goes to Beverly Hills. If you didn't know the premise, yes.
Yeah, okay. I know the premise of the movie. I know the song.
So then Alex suggested a recurring segment, TikTok torture. By the way, we're giving our ideas. Another podcast is going to steal, where Alex is going to force me to watch like a TikTok, I don't know, compilation where I'm going to lose.
I'm just going to like educate Pat about what the young people are talking about, and just give
not even Zoomers, like what the alphas are into.
Yeah, just existential fear is what it should be called.
Then we're going to do random interviews with folks that we both know. We're going to probably do that. Yep. Not the first few episodes. We'll make sure we don't hate each other first before we bring in a third mic to partake in our madness. Pat's college stories. I have a decent amount. Then we're going to go East Coast, West Coast, just, differences. And, we'll talk about the Jersey Shore next time. I guess we can do that. But I got a lot to say about the Jersey Shore. You still taking notes about what to talk about?
I'm literally writing down ideas for TikTok tortures right now.
Put them on our document here.
No, it's secret. You have to not know about it.
I think you're texting, you're DMing the Steakums account while we're.
There's no way.
I think you run the Steakums account.
If I ran the Steakums account, after the nice things that you said about it, you would never hear the end of it.
Okay.
You would never hear the end of it.
And then we might do a Q&A from Twitter. It might be like, okay, what do you want us to talk about? Like, what do you want?
I wrote down just now in my notes that I got to find the video that the guy went into the future and everybody was gone.
The guy went into the future and everyone was gone.
Yeah. He like woke up in the future and everybody was gone.
It's a TikTok video?
Yeah. It's from like a couple. Look, we got a lot of stuff. Don't worry about it. I got you guys. I got you listeners. Pat's gonna
I think
Pat's gonna come out of his castle and he's gonna come down among common folk and he's gonna learn about what the alphas are up to.
I think your audience is gonna enjoy seeing you. Actually, it might be the opposite. My audience might enjoy you putting me on edge, and maybe your audience might enjoy me like fucking with you, here and there. We'll see.
Yeah, I think it'll be all right. And you know what? Maybe in the future it'll be our audience, Pat. What do you think about that?
It is our audience right now.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, you mean when they actually mingle? We'll have a meet and greet one day. It'll be like the Hatfields,
the Jets and the Sharks. Yeah,
the Jets and the Sharks.
But at the end, like when after Maria dies and they look inward and they
without the knife fight, hopefully.
Yeah, the knife fight's the podcast. Like we're just gonna give a good speech on the podcast and then they're gonna come together.
I can't wait for 2 years from now, or when we have our internal power struggle.
Let's all meet in Chicago and beat up all the pizza places in Chicago.
Oh God, can we agree on that? we shake hands on that.
Here's what I'm going to tell you. I love Chicago deep dish. I love it. It's delicious. It's a great dish. It's a great food. Fuck out of here. It's pizza.
Thank you. You save yourself. It's not pizza.
Yeah, it's just not.
It's not.
Yeah,
it's not pizza.
Yeah,
it's a fucking quiche. And I was saying
it's delicious. It's delicious. I can take you to a great deep dish pizza place. It's just
don't call it something else. Call it deep dish bread bowl, because that's what
deep dish pie.
It's a bread bowl with sauce on it.
Yeah, just get out of here. It's it's a different dish. It's a
sauce bowl. It's a square sauce bowl.
It's like excluded for the same reason that like you don't like actually include like a burger on the sandwich list. It's just not the same. It's not the same thing. It's its own thing.
Let's not get into like burgers or hot dogs or sandwich. Let's not start that up. That's dumb.
Dumb.
We're gonna come to blows. All right. Well, this is a fun one, Alex. This was not a bad probationary podcast.
Yeah, we were going to talk about another even darker topic after this, but we're probably going to save that for next time.
Were we? Now I'm forgetting about our dark topic. Oh, now I remember.
Yeah,
the dark.
We got plenty. We got plenty of ammo. Yeah, there'll be more.
This was a light one. A Twitch streamer, texting a minor aside. This was a light one. And
I didn't forget that we promised to watch Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, and report back.
Please don't make me rewatch that. Please don't. I saw
it. You said you'd love to rewatch it because you want to know if you're now that the
fourth one came out or fifth one.
No, like the hate period is over. Like that's kind of what happened to me with Dial of Destiny. Is like I went in pretty like raw. Like I didn't neither of us hated the movie, right? Neither of us.
I did not hate Dial
Yeah,
Destiny, but I
yeah.
have no intention
Neither
of
of
ever
us
watching
hated it.
again.
Yeah, but we both kind of like were like, it was whatever. It was fine. It was
you
like
liked
whatever.
No, you liked it more than me. Go back and listen to last year.
For
you
sure,
liked it more than me.
But I'll tell you this: I went back and watched it again recently because I got the 4K Blu-ray of it, and I wanted to watch it because I thought it would. I wanted to see if it was as beautiful as I remember it being.
Beautiful,
like just visually beautiful as I remember it being in the theater, and it really was. But I also like divorced from the disappointment of it was just a lot more keen on like what decisions they made and a lot more of the structure of the script.
You were in love with parts of that movie, and you had the most insane argument where you said that kid in the movie, who I don't remember his name, was just as memorable as Short Round.
He was.
Bullshit, he was, because I can't remember his name of that kid or what he did besides fly a plane at the end.
When you saw Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom when you were a kid, it was like one of like 4 or 5 movies that were any good that came out every year. And it was like
I was too young to see that in theaters. I saw that like on cable.
I'm talking about the royal you. If you like in theaters, you come out, Indiana Jones is like an event picture. It's like every single person on the playground. It's the only thing any of them did.
So you're saying I loved Temple of Doom just because I saw it as a kid?
That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is there's no way to compare the like cultural impact that Indiana Jones movie had in the 80s.
It's not about cultural impact. It's about having a strong character that stands out. And that kid character does not stand out at all because I don't remember a thing about him.
He learned how to fly a plane by building a little plane in the restaurant. You remember that?
Okay, sure.
You're just
he had zero relationship with Indiana in the movie.
Yeah, he's a hater. He
did nothing interesting. He had no interesting interaction with the other characters in the movie.
Okay, so as
no memorable lines.
As little as you have budged personally on your opinion of Dial of Destiny,
I will never budge on that.
You can understand what concept I'm talking about how after my like the impact of it. Like, for example, the Doctor Who finale recently was like really disappointing from a mystery standpoint. They pulled the Last Jedi and they were like, it wasn't important. You made it important. You know, they pulled like that kind of.
What do you mean finale? I mean for the season finale? You mean?
Yeah, they had like a big mystery going.
Okay, and then they dropped the ball at the end.
At the end, they go, it wasn't important. You made it important.
Stop it. You're supposed to entertain us.
But don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. My point is that going back and watching it again without the sting, there was more to appreciate. You understand this?
You appreciated Dial of Destiny more?
It wasn't. Yeah, no, I appreciated Dial of Destiny more. Same thing with Doctor Who. Going back and watching it again without the sting, I could go back and kind of like, see it as a 7 and pull the things out of it and come out of it feeling positive. And same thing with, I'm interested in if the same thing happens with Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, because I too have not watched it in very many years.
I think I saw part of it on TV a few years ago.
It's nevertheless directed by Steven Spielberg. You know what I mean? Like, it can't be like total shit.
The last one wasn't, right? Was the last one who?
No, the last one was by Logan Guy,
and that's one of the reasons why it probably is not as memorable. I mean,
it's not as the language of film is not so bombastically like expensive and brilliant and beautiful and like one of the most important American filmmakers ever to live. For sure,
I don't want to say expensive has anything to do with it because that movie was. But fucking expensive.
It was expensive, but not because they like well spent the budget of the movie, and every dollar of that budget.
It's a $300 million movie. I understand Harrison Ford probably got 40 of that.
Didn't feel like one.
But there was no Dial of Destiny had no real visual language to that.
They had to go in and do a bunch of reshoots. I remember. Like I think they just. I think the expense wasn't like just because of how bombastic.
Nothing was staged interestingly. Nothing was shot interestingly.
That's what I'm saying. It's better than you remember. It's better than you remember. It is. There is like cinema going on in this movie.
I'm telling you, as someone that saw it only in the theaters once, the only thing that stuck out with me, looking back, none of the characterizations. I can't remember any clever lines. The chase scene with the little mini cart things. That's the only part of the movie I thought was well done to a point. But even that went on too long. I remember. Like that.
There's a fun chase. There's a fun chase.
That's the only thing I remember.
There was a fun chase with like the ex-boyfriend chasing them through the streets. That's the same chase, but like that was like a fun.
That was it. But that's it. But that happens like 40 minutes into the movie.
What about the horse?
No, that was awful.
That was awful.
It was
what are you
awful.
talking
It was
about?
obvious CG going into the subway, and it was just like, this is terrible.
It wasn't CG. Okay,
They didn't. There was a real subway.
The point is, you can understand what I'm talking about, and I think that possibly Kingdom of the Crystal Skull might have some stuff that's worth enjoying.
Minecart chase, that was not. I will say that.
Listen,
rope bridge scene,
movies.
There was not.
Movies as a whole do not have the same impact.
There was nothing clever about that's the thing. There was nothing clever about Dial of Destiny that the other Indiana Jones movies has or had.
I think that there's a little bit more, like, in this essay. I will tell you how much more intricate I think that screenplay was. I think they did some stuff really well that I didn't catch on my first go through because I was still the fanboy adjusting to what they were telling me was happening to Indiana Jones. And I had to like, and it's embarrassing to be that person. I think it's embarrassing to like be offended by a movie's like literacy with the like deep lore. I always hate when that makes me mad, but it's true. It does make me mad because I care about this stuff sometimes, especially comic book related and like pulpy kind of stuff like Indiana Jones. Like I care
about this dumb movie again.
I was just saying
we argued a year ago about this dumb movie.
I'm just saying I think we could watch.
Alex is pausing the podcast to pet his pooch. All right now.
He's freaking out. He's freaking out because something happened outside.
This is what we get for talking about this mediocre movie again. This $300 million
Take it easy. It was
dog of a movie.
It's better than almost any blockbuster movie that came out that year.
What came out last year in comparison to Dial of Destiny?
I don't know. Dune came out this year. Stop.
Box office movies 2023. And I'll tell you, it wasn't better than Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
Oh, yes, it was.
No, it was not. Wow. Okay.
That movie was ass.
I have not seen the new Mission Impossible. I guarantee you it wasn't as good as that. Just on its surface.
Mission Impossible might have been good.
You did not like Guardians of the Galaxy 3, really?
It was a soulless. It was a movie in name only.
Guardians of the Galaxy 3 was soulless, but Dial of Destiny was not. Are you kidding? What? Are you messing with me on purpose, or you actually believe that?
I do believe that. I think
you think Guardians of the Galaxy 3 had no soul.
Yeah, I think it
wow.
It was like I could see James Gunn's like good script in there that he was trying to write, and then I just felt the movie, the studio system just completely let him down.
But Dial of Destiny was not a studio system movie. Is that what you're trying to tell me?
100%. Dial of Destiny.
You are out of your fucking mind. That was a committee movie. All through Dial of Destiny. Are you kidding me?
Definitely not.
There was no chance taking at all in Dial of Destiny.
Dial of Destiny took a chance. Dial of Destiny took a chance just by being a regular old Indiana Jones movie.
No, that was not a chance at all.
They avoided so much of the like unpleasantness that so many of those types of movies bring.
Absolutely not.
Listen, we disagree about this, but that's okay.
I cannot believe like. This is almost as crazy as the Nintendo should make a new cartridge NES. To me, I'm shocked that you thought Dial of Destiny was a bigger risk taker and had more soul than Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
It's a real movie. Guardians of the Galaxy is a movie like that got body snatched.
So you say that has less of an auteur feel than Dial of Destiny?
I don't know about
an overbloated corporate mess.
I think that if we're talking about which one's an overbloated corporate mess, I'm going to go with Guardians of the Galaxy 3. Wow. Guardians of the Galaxy 3 is about 20 minutes of strong movie. Like compared to Guardians of the Galaxy 2, Guardians of the Galaxy 3 is a complete fake movie. It's like
so then why did the audience hate Dial of Destiny and not see it? And why do they love Guardians?
Because nobody cares about Indiana Jones anymore, and Marvel is great at superhero therapy, and the bar was so low. But Guardians of the Galaxy still shits on like every Marvel movie that's come out for like 2 years.
I hate to invoke Rotten
it's still way better than any of the other Marvel movies. Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
But you're still saying it had no soul. You said it had no soul.
Yeah, it feels like James Gunn. It feels like James Gunn got completely muzzled on that movie.
But he had carte blanche. There was no connection to the other Marvel shit at all with that. That was like reasons why I enjoyed it. It was like, this is a standalone movie, and we don't have to worry about incorporating a preview for 15 other movies. We're just going to do this.
It had no thesis.
Well, the critics disagree with you. 82% fresh, and then
if I had to agree with the critics, to have my point, I would.
I'm not saying. I'm just saying it's a conglomerate. Somehow, I got 70% of critics enjoyed Dial of Destiny. I thought it was lower than that. I thought it was like 60%.
Dial of Destiny is pretty decent. It's pretty good.
I don't want to rewatch it because it's so damn long and nothing happens for a lot of it.
It is long, but actually, like, I was surprised at how much occurs. I forgot. I didn't realize how straightforward the story was the first time I watched it, and it actually I agree even more with all the stuff that you disagreed with me about when we talked about it last time. But here's the point.
Do you remember the kid's name?
His name? No, I don't.
Memorable character.
Name any of the Guardians of the Galaxy characters besides the ones that are in all three movies.
What do you mean besides the ones that are in all three movies? Those are the ones you care about.
What's the name of the villain of Guardians of the Galaxy 3?
The Evolutionary.
The High Evolutionary.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So he's a famous comic book villain. Name any other character.
He's not that famous, but I kind of knew him.
He's like
he was from X-Men.
He's from everything. He could be one of the biggest villains.
He's a not so common villain. He's not a famous one.
If we're talking about top 5 most dangerous Marvel villains, he's on the list.
Was that your attempt to have a gotcha? Because I remembered that villain.
No, because
he was a good villain, by the way. I thought
the girl's name. It doesn't matter. I just never remember characters' names in movies because I'm focused on the structure.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Seriously, what's her name's, like Helena Shaw, right? The girl.
I don't even know what the woman's name is.
I was trying to bring up that he's like trying to stop what happened to his dad happening to her and her dad, and what in that work. And you thought that was weak. Like, you thought that was like not in the movie, but it really was in the movie more than I even realized.
I don't remember our conversation. I'm not sure me bringing that up.
Yeah.
But I just remembered, I think my general stance, if I go back, please don't make me re-listen to our podcast conversation about.
I just want to watch Kingdom of the Crystal Skull with you, and that's all. Yeah, that's all I'm trying
setting up a Patreon exclusive where we riff on it while we watch
it. There's no Patreon.
Okay.
And also, when we start this, it's going to be called the Patreon, by the way.
Oh, that's clever.
I can't believe you didn't ever do that.
Of course I did that. I used to always tweet Pat.
I know. I'm joking.
Oh, okay.
I know.
Now you're fucking with me. Now you're fucking me, and now you're calling me a hack at the same time. So now you got me. Okay.
Guys,
right. Are you happy with yourself? I'm going to put a moratorium on us discussing this very memorable Dial of Destiny movie. I don't think we should be able to discuss this forever again.
I think you should go back and watch Dial of Destiny again if you're listening to this, because it's actually not that bad. And even the beginning, if there was some way to just not focus on how weird it is to recreate young people from whole cloth with a computer, the actual context of those scenes without the fact that he looks so weird is totally
he doesn't look weird. He sounds weird. My critique was, why do they go through all the bother?
He does look weird. He does. It doesn't play as well.
They didn't modulate his voice, so it's like younger Indiana Jones, 38-year-old Harrison
I think
Ford
that's probably his sticking point. I think he probably was like, "Don't do that to me." I think, but
I'd be like, "Well, screw you. We want you to sound like how you sounded in 1983."
Then I walk. I'm out.
I just thought that was so weird.
No more indie. I'm out.
He's young indie, but he's talking like this.
Have fun with Alden Ehrenreich. I'm out. I walk. Harrison's off the project.
God, please don't make me cancel the probationary period, because I don't want to talk about this movie anymore.
I want to talk about the one right before it in the timeline, Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, directed by Steven Spielberg.
Your homework. You have to watch the Beverly Hills Cop.
Yeah.
Plus, they're good movies. The first two,
yeah,
they're actually.
I like them. They're hilarious.
The first movie is a classic. It's like a modern classic, just about. And
yeah.
Plus, you can see how low budget it was and how they were writing it as they went. Because originally it was a Sylvester Stallone vehicle, and he dropped out of it. So they went from Sylvester Stallone to an up-and-coming Eddie Murphy.
Eddie Murphy just ad-libs all these lines and goes
pretty much. And Bronson Pinchot, that's how he started his career, by ad-libbing the Surge character.
Another great movie guy, another great actor.
Yeah,
right there.
That doesn't get credit because of he's mostly for Perfect Strangers, which is an awesome sitcom. All right, we gotta go.
I'm glad we ended on Balky.
To me, one of the most underrated sitcoms ever.
Yeah, that's good. Everybody go buy a DVD of Perfect Strangers from
if you can.
FYE.
The OG 1987 TGIF.
Go to Tower Records and pick up a copy.
Go to Tower Records and what? Get your 8-track? Like, what do you?
Yeah.
Well, you Tower Records. Jeez.
Pick up a DVD box set.
Go to your Sam Goody for our East Coasters. Go to your Sam Goody.
Do you guys have FYE? East Coast?
We kind of did, but it was mostly Sam Goody in the malls. We did not have a lot of Tower Records, if I remember.
We had what is it called? Suncoast.
I worked at Suncoast.
Yeah. And we had.
Have you heard my Suncoast adventures before? Yeah,
we talked about it briefly last time, but we had Suncoast in California in the malls. And we had
so did we. I think
we had Blockbuster and Warehouse.
When did Suncoast lasted until the past like 4 or 5 years? They were still around. No, there's 3 left. There are 3 locations left.
Is one of them in California in Del Amo Mall?
I don't know, but there's 3 of them. Okay, there's let's see. There's one in Beaver Creek, Ohio.
Oh man.
And there's a couple more. All right, just check out the Wikipedia. We gotta go. We're overdue. I gotta edit this still, I think.
Why?
What do you mean why? I gotta put this out. I'm not sure I gotta keep the
suncoastrecords.com is no longer listed.
Okay. All right, we're falling off the rails here. All right. Well, thanks everyone. We'll see you in a couple of weeks.
Was it not so common?
I guess it wasn't. This podcast. Suncoast is pretty not so common at this point.
Next time we're gonna design the podcast logo live on air.
A 15-year-old that worked with me sexually harassed me at the Suncoast. We'll end on that note. All right. That's actually true. That's true.
Oh my God. We have to actually leave now.
All right. We'll see you in 2 weeks, everyone. Take care.